Thursday night football, usually you'd be excited, but maybe not for this matchup. You got the Cowboys taking on the Titans here. Both maybe still chasing division titles, but for the Cowboys, they're already in the playoff picture here, but still maybe hoping on the NFC East. Remember, the Eagles are top of them at 13-2, but the Titans, this is maybe a wash game for them because Week 18 really matters in that AFC South. They have to face the Jags, and Josh Dobbs getting his first career NFL start. 17 career passing attempts. Interesting to see how that pans out for the Titans there, and a lot of missing pieces for Tennessee resting up for that finale next week. All right, to get on the same page as pen and paper, my guy, Jay Douzable in here. And let's start with Tennessee's side here. I mentioned no Derrick Henry. You got Josh Dobbs starting here. Yeah. Fantasy-wise, I don't know what you're going to start here, but what do you want to see here from the Titans as they look ahead to Week 18, basically?
Well, speaking of the fantasy, angle, one thing I can tell you is this. Mike Vrabel does not care about your fantasy championship at all, right? They got a win and get in playoff scenario on Week 18. So if you're looking at the Tennessee Titans, right, I kind of like what Mike Vrabel is doing. Now, again, if I had Derrick Henry in my fantasy roster, I would hate what they're doing. But if you look at it, like this game, not to say that this game doesn't matter, but we know whether they win or lose this game, it still comes down to Week 18 versus Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you look at it, Derrick Henry takes a lot of force and brunt and a lot of hits on that big frame. Why not rest him up and get him ready for that Week 18 that you're going to really have to lean in on him? We don't know if Ryan Tannehill will be able to come back that game. So Derrick Henry's probably going to get 30-plus carries in that game in Week 18. Jeffrey Simmons has dealt with some injuries. Danico Autry's dealt with some injuries. Why not rest some of your frontline guys, get them ready, get them mentally prepared? Because essentially, Brandon, that's going to be a playoff game Week 18. So I don't mind what Mike Vrabel is doing. He's getting his team ready for that win-and-get-in scenario. And they're going to let a lot of these young guys play because you might depend on them in that second half in that game because some of these, frontline guys are kind of banged up right now. So get some of these young guys, some work in today's game versus Dallas Cowboys. Rest your frontline guys. Get them mentally prepared for that Week 18 matchup. I like what Mike Vrabel is doing.
On the flip side, you got the Cowboys. I mentioned they're already in the playoff picture at 11-4. Tony Pollard would not play tonight, of course, short week. Yeah. But if you're Dallas, you still have maybe a few red flags. Dak and his interceptions, that's been a problem since he came back. The defense may be trending downward as opposed to what we saw in the first couple of weeks. What do you need to see from them for a team that needs to make a long run into the postseason?
You just talked about it, the defense, right? They have to stop giving up so many explosive plays. Last week versus Gardner Minshew and the Philadelphia Eagles, 4 pass plays over 20 yards. It started off early in that game. Trayvon Diggs, they schemed him up. They know he's an aggressive corner. He bit on the double move. A.J. Brown beat him over the top for a 40-plus yard catch and run. You go 2 weeks ago versus Jacksonville Jaguars in a game they should have won, Brandon. 3 explosive plays over 30 yards. One was an end around to Jamal Agnew. Nobody was there for contain. He breaks down the sideline for an explosive play. You have to minimize giving up explosive plays. You have to make it hard for opposite teams' offenses. And then consistency in their run defense. Now, they did a better job last week versus the Philadelphia Eagles, but the Jacksonville Jaguars had their way in the run games, and so did the Houston Texans when they played them earlier this year. So they have to shore up that run defense, and then they have to eliminate the explosive plays along with Dak Prescott turning the football over.
Something to watch on Thursday night. Of course, I asked your pick, and by the way, the line has been moving since Joshua Dobbs has been named. It was 13 this morning, 13.5, now at 14. They're favored by 14, 2 touchdowns. Also, the over-under at 40.
I'm going to take the Titans to cover, and I know that nobody is playing for the Tennessee Titans in this game, but Josh Dobbs, a lot of these young guys, these guys are still NFL caliber players, right? 14 points is a lot. I would buy a half a point. Give me 14.5 for the Tennessee Titans to cover. Dallas, this game really doesn't mean much to them. Now, they still have an outside chance of winning the division, but the Eagles would have to have like a colossal downfall for that to happen. So I would not be surprised in this game if Dallas goes up a little bit. They start pulling some starters away, resting guys, getting them ready for the playoffs as well. But 14 points is an enormous number, Brandon. I would buy it up to 14.5, and I would take the Tennessee Titans.
What about your top player props for this one?
Player props, man, if you look at it, right, Ezekiel Elliott, anytime touchdown. If you look at what the Tennessee Titans defense has done 3 out of the last 4 games, they've given up a touchdown to the running back position. You talked about it. Tony Pollard won't be playing in this game, so Ezekiel Elliott will most likely get most of those red zone and low red zone carries. I like him to get into the end zone. And then over 32.5 receiving yards from Michael Gallup. The number 2 receiver versus the Tennessee Titans has done that 4 weeks in a row, I like Michael Gallup to go over the 32.5 receiving yards.
I like your thinking with the Cowboys. I like that. The star is warming up on you, my friend. Leger Douzable there, of course. Don't forget, you can catch Sportsline, the live betting hour, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and on the weekends, 1:30 at 2 on Sunday. As I mentioned, that line for the Cowboys is moving. I'm pretty sure throughout this show, it might as well when it comes to that. Always check them out throughout the week and on the weekends.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.